The country that hosted this year's UN-led climate talks is tapping its solar assets as it faces a balancing act in powering economic growth while accelerating its green energy transition. The UAE is in the middle of the desert, soaking up as much as 11 hours of sunlight every day. And its leaders are trying to embrace the sunshine. Julie Yu was in Dubai to cover the top COP28 negotiations, and she got a glimpse of the Emirates' quest for sustainable energy.
Against the dusty desert backdrop, row after row of solar panels shimmer, drawing energy from the sun's rays. This structure is situated about 50 kilometers south of Dubai and is a shining example of the UAE's pursuit of renewable energy. This is the $4.3 billion fourth phase of the Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Solar Park. It's the world's largest single-site solar park, housing more than 790,000 panels, and it includes the world's tallest solar tower, stretching more than 260 meters into the sky.
Current capacity from the solar park right now, we have exceeded 2,600 megawatts, which contributes to over 16% of the energy mix in the city of Dubai. Total capacity the solar park will reach is 5,000 megawatts, and that is by 2030.
The goal is to power about 800,000 homes and reduce annual carbon emissions by more than 6.5 million tons. This solar park is one element of the Dubai Clean Energy Strategy 2050, which aims to provide 100% of energy production from clean sources by the middle of the century.
Obviously, the solar resource is fantastic in this region. There's actually a very good wind resource in many parts of the Middle East as well. So certainly there's a lot of potential there to generate very, very low-cost renewable energy. And that is going to increasingly make renewables a very cost-competitive source of power generation relative to oil and natural gas. And so certainly we expect that's going to drive a lot of the growth.
The solar power is also used to drive another energy initiative. Adjacent to the park stands a solar-powered green hydrogen plant, the first project of its kind in the Middle East and North Africa.
We convert solar radiation into electricity first, and then we use this electricity to split water into hydrogen and oxygen. And this is why we call it green hydrogen, because it's produced using solar energy.
The Dubai Electricity and Water Authority anticipates the low-carbon hydrogen will play a substantial role in its long-term energy strategy.
You can use it for steel, you can use it for ammonia production, for cars, ships. For me, the main application for them is actually to help us with what's called hard-to-abate sectors. These are sectors where you cannot use basically electricity, so the hydrogen will play a role.
But despite the UAE's vast potential in renewables, it faces a dual challenge: balancing economic growth while shifting towards renewable energy sources.
The hydrocarbon wealth of this region is a curse as well as a blessing. You could say that their strength is also their weakness. Because they have so many resources, that means supplies are abundant. It means that costs tend to be very low, production costs are low, and also costs to consumers typically are very low. And so it can be harder for renewable energy to compete here. And so that's probably the single biggest barrier, is just the ample availability and low cost of fossil fuels.
The global push for renewable energy is becoming more pronounced. Nations that attended the COP28 climate talks in Dubai pledged to triple renewable capacity by 2030. And they signed a landmark deal agreed to transition away from fossil fuels. But still, some experts expect to see a coexistence between renewables and non-renewables in the energy mix.
I would expect that share to increase pretty significantly. Question is, though, it's coming from such a low base, is it going to be the majority share of the energy system in this region by 2050? That seems very unlikely. I think you could get to 15, 20%, maybe 30%. Those sort of numbers are absolutely plausible, but still we would expect hydrocarbons to remain a very, very important and arguably the dominant part of the energy mix, even out to 2050.
But the UAE's substantial investments and ongoing projects are pushing the energy transition even further. That perhaps these visions in the desert will help paint a picture of a more sustainable future for the planet as a whole. Julie Yu, CNA, Dubai.